What transpired with Sophie Sierra's friend Kay following the meltdown in Season 2 of 90 Day The Last Resort. Sophie Sierra, star of 90 Day The Last Resort, and her pal Kay have become friends over the past few years. Sophie, a native of London, UK, made her reality TV debut in 2023 during Season 10 of 90 Day Fiancé. Her connection with her Los Angeles-based American partner, Rob Warren, was chronicled throughout the season. Rob and Sophie seemed like a terrific fit at first. She made the decision to forgive him and go on in spite of his previous adultery. They eventually tied the knot in the hopes of finding happiness in the future. Although Sophie and Rob's new married life started off well, their old relationship issues soon returned, resulting in conflicts and disputes. They decided to deal with their problems permanently in 2024. In a last-ditch effort to save their relationship, they went to therapy on Season 2 of 90 Day The Last Resort. Sophie and Rob finally decided to split up after a trying time at the resort because of their intractable differences. Sophie also accused Rob of having pursued sexual relations with guys in order to obtain money. With the help of her friend Kay, who also fiercely condemned Rob, Sophie accused Rob of being an escort during 90 Day The Last Resort Season 2 Tell-All. "I have actual video evidence of the way you acted and why I let her move in with me," Kay yelled at Rob during her tell-all segment, addressing him about his previous actions. Kay went on, "I know people haven't really seen the true form of Rob and how bad it can really get." She claimed Rob was the poisonous partner in the relationship and stood up for Sophie. Kay left the tell-all in a spectacular fashion. She asserted that even if Sophie were into a war, she would still stand behind her. Kay and Sophie remain close friends as of May 2025. She occasionally shares photos of herself and Sophie on Instagram, demonstrating their close relationship with her fans. The blogger 90 Day Fiancé Alexa shared a picture of Sophie and Kay together in May 2025. The post featured a screen grab of Kay's Instagram story, in which she described Sophie and herself as her spiritual ride or die. Kay's message to Sophie, which read, "Beyond proud of us for surviving the roommate era BC most friends don't but we made it look easy," was also featured in the article. She additionally stated, "No matter what anyone has tried to say about our friendship, we have remained true to ourselves." Kay stated she was proud of Sophie's development since she and Rob parted ways, and was eager to see what more she could achieve. Sophie expressed her appreciation for Kay's sincere statement by liking the post. Despite her unpredictable demeanor in front of the cameras, Kay is Sophie's close friend. Kay is a great friend for Sophie to look up to because of her experiences living in the United States, in addition to offering support. With the remark, "Older, wiser, hotter," Kay shared a picture of herself in a green suit in April 2025, disclosing that she had turned 27. By like Kay's image and leaving a comment with fire emojis to let Kay know she looked good, Sophie also showed her affection. Despite losing Rob, the cast member of 90 Day The Last Resort still has Kay. But Sophie had a tense, thrilling tingle in her chest as she got off the plane. In stark contrast to the damp coolness of Manchester, England, the air in Los Angeles struck her with a dry warmth. Searching for a recognizable face, she scanned the busy airport. Then she spotted him, her fiancé Rob, grinning broadly and holding a little bunch of flowers. She hurried to embrace him. "It is indeed happening," she muttered. Rob laughed. "Hey, sweetie, welcome to LA." There was a lot of conversation on the way to Rob's place, including dreams, plans, and a few anxious giggles. However, Sophie's smile dimmed a little as soon as she entered his little, one-bedroom apartment in a crowded area of Los Angeles. Although tidy, the space was sparse. The bathroom has a leaking faucet, a shabby couch, and a single little window. Rob's belongings hardly fit in the closet, much less hers. "So, is this it?" she inquired softly. Sensing her hesitancy, Rob nodded. "I know it's not much. However, we will make it work." The sound of sirens and honking woke Sophie up the following morning. "Is this typical?" she said blearily. She was alone in a city she hardly knew, and Rob had already departed for work. The electric kettle she used to make tea was puzzling. The milk had a distinct flavor. The bread had a nice taste. It was all weird. She went out to get groceries later that day. The sun was unrelenting, and the streets were crowded. She jumped when a homeless man near the store yelled something unintelligible at her. People didn't smile and walked quickly. She missed her home. Rob and Sophie had already gotten into their first argument before the end of the first week. Sophie folded her arms and remarked, "I just feel like you didn't prepare me." Rob let out a sigh. "I warned you it wouldn't be simple, Sophie. Not every one of us resides in a house in Hollywood. A mansion is not what I'm requesting. However, I feel as though I have entered someone else's mess after giving up my entire life." Her eyes filled with tears. She resisted Rob's attempt to console her. Sophie started searching for little ways to provide a sense of homeliness to the place. She purchased a tea kettle that she truly liked, some plants, and a couple throw cushions. To keep herself occupied, she enrolled in an online course and even befriended Lana, a neighbor who had immigrated from Ukraine years prior. One afternoon over coffee, Lana remarked, "Believe me, LA is difficult. However, you become stronger." Encouraged, Sophie nodded. She sent Rob a picture of the tiny nook she had decorated via text. "That looks fantastic," he said. "I appreciate your effort." Rob and Sophie were figuring out how to coexist, not just share a room, but share a life. Rob made an effort to prepare her favorite British dishes. His disorganized closet was tidied up by Sophie. They still quarreled, but they also had fun. They watched the LA skyline one evening while sitting on their building's rooftop. Rob questioned, "Do you still believe you made the right choice?" Head resting on his shoulder, Sophie did so. "I'm still debating, I think. However, I have faith in us. That is significant." With documentation in hand, they sat in front of the immigration lawyer's office as the 90 days came to a conclusion. "Getting married isn't the only goal," Sophie stated. "The question is whether we're truly prepared." Rob grasped her hand. "Are we?" She glanced at him and then at the city, which was starting to seem less alien. "Indeed. I believe we are." But Sophie was giddy with anticipation as she boarded the flight from London to Los Angeles. She had been dreaming about seeing her attractive, driven American fiancé Rob again for months. They had spent hours on video conversations, sent each other innumerable messages, even met online. Sophie thought they were meant to be. She had no idea what was waiting for her on the other side of the globe, though. There was a lot of anxious laughter, tender kisses, and optimistic looks throughout the drive from LAX to Rob's residence. Clinging to her suitcase, Sophie looked over the streets of California. She anticipated a little apartment or perhaps a comfortable suburban house. Rather, Rob pulled into a south-central alleyway behind a dilapidated duplex. With a smile, he remarked, "We're here." Sophie's expression dimmed. The front door had a crack along the middle, and the front yard was overrun with weeds. The condition inside didn't get much better. Peeling paint, flickering lights, a couch that appeared to have withstood a cyclone, and, worst of all, a bathroom without a functional door. "Will this last?" Sophie asked, attempting to maintain a calm tone. Rob gave a shrug. "It's what I can currently afford. Instead, I wanted us to save money for the wedding." Sophie didn't want to come out as unappreciative. Love, after all, required compromise and sacrifice. Deep down, though, something didn't feel right. For this, she had abandoned her family, friends, and career? This was on a different level than the cultural shock. Weeks passed. Sophie cleaned the kitchen, placed fairy lights in their room, and purchased candles in an attempt to make the apartment feel like home. However, nothing could cover the sirens that sounded every night across the neighborhood or the damp, cold stench of the old structure. The tension increased. Every time she mentioned moving, Rob became defensive. He accused her of being entitled and spoiled. Sophie attempted to clarify that it was about feeling heard, appreciated, and safe rather than about money. Every disagreement, tear, and awkward quiet between them was caught on tape. 90-Day Fiancé fans began to take sides. #FreeSophie started trending on Twitter. Rob was referred to as a narcissist by some observers. Sophie should have done more research, according to others. Then the last straw appeared. Sophie saw a rat scuttling across the kitchen floor one evening as she was taking out the trash. She let out a scream and let the bag fall. "It's just a rat," Rob murmured, rolling his eyes. "Calm down." Sophie didn't unwind. She packed her bags that evening. She sat in a downtown hotel room, her eyes swollen from sobbing, for her last interview with the producers. She claimed to have loved Rob. But being in love shouldn't mean having to live in discomfort or terror. "I didn't come for survival mode, but for a collaboration." Rob Warren and Sophie Sierra, however, had had a busy year. Since their debut on 90 Day Fiancé, the couple has enthralled fans with their disparate personalities. Sophie is a lively British influencer with a heart full of secrets and a desire for adventure, while Rob is a laid-back American with a difficult history. Following an emotional reunion and months of ups and downs, they eventually made their home in Los Angeles and worked to mend their relationship. Sophie had put a lot of effort into earning Rob's trust after he battled insecurities. But everything changed one night. Under the cozy glow of fairy lights, they were enjoying a glass of wine while sitting on their tiny balcony. Between them, the air was calm, almost too silent, while below them, the city buzzed. "Rob," Sophie remarked, a little shaky in her voice, "I have something to share with you, and I truly need your attention." Rob's eyes narrowed slightly as he gazed up, feeling the weight of what was about to happen. "Simply, I'm bisexual," she declared. "I've known all along. I was simply too scared to tell you." "I was unsure of your reaction." Like smoke, the words hung in the air. Rob blinked. He said, "Okay." Slowly. "So, are you still into women?" Sophie gave a tense smile. "Rob, just because I'm bisexual doesn't mean I want someone else. You were my choice. However, I must be truthful about my identity. Everything I am." Leaning back in his chair, Rob processed the information. He didn't anticipate this. He recalled all the times Sophie had alluded to her desire to be accepted and to be seen for who she truly was. Perhaps he hadn't been paying as much attention as he believed. After some time, he remarked, "Thank you for telling me. But I have to admit, I'm not sure how to respond at the moment." "That's fair," Sophie said with a nod. "If you're not there yet, I'm not asking you to celebrate. All I want is for you to know who I am. Know me well." Days went by. Understanding increased along with the tension. Rob started reading, learning, and even seeking advice from a buddy, who was a therapist. He also came to the realization that Sophie was not changing. She was simply growing more truthful. Rob surprised her one evening by putting a single letter under her plate along with dinner. It said, "I appreciate your faith in me. I still pick you, in all your forms." Sophie's eyes filled with tears. She felt recognized for the first time, loved for everything, not just the easy parts. They didn't have a flawless connection. It had never been. However, something had changed. There was a new intimacy, a closer bond that resulted from radical honesty as well as romance. Sophie smiled at the camera in a subsequent confessional interview. Fitting into someone else's ideal of perfection is not what love is all about. It's about having the courage to be noticed and the good fortune to be liked in any case. Greetings, dear viewers, greetings from my channel. I'm Amelia. I hope you're having a great day. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the video.